Good day, students. My name is Edo Triumph. It's good to be with you this very beautiful day. Today we're going to have an examination-based content class for 2018 examinations. This presentation is for students taking diploma in junior primary education, diploma in junior primary education, DJPE Cl11, and diploma in secondary education, DSE Cl12. So, computer literacy is a compulsory subject for every student at Iol, so you must be very sure that the presentation that you listen to is the one meant for you. Hence, that is the purpose of the first slide in your presentation. So the first slide has already informed you that this presentation is for diploma in junior primary education, DJPE Cl11, and diploma in secondary school education, DSE Cl12. I welcome you all to this examination-based presentation. Sit down, relax, while Edo guides you through the presentation. This presentation is for April, August, and November examination 2018, meaning there is not going to be a different presentation apart from this one for August and November examination. Hence, what Mr. Edo is trying to tell you here is this. This presentation covers 2018 examination. Are you ready? If you are ready, sit down. Let's go. What are you ready for? Are you ready for the examination? What should you expect in the examination? I will guide you on how to approach your examination. But I want you to take note of something at the beginning of this presentation. And what is that? That this presentation is not a scope. I will repeat it again. This presentation is not a scope. It's a guide. Meaning, Edo is here to guide you on how to approach your questions, how to answer your questions comes April, August, and November examination. Edo is not here to give you questions that will come in the examination. Are you with me? Yeah, it's better you listen to me. Now, when you receive your examination question paper, what format is your examination question paper is going to be? Number one, you are required, or you will be required, to answer all the questions in your question paper. And you know, if you look at your study guide, we have these examination terms and phrases that you must master before the examination day. Phrases like explain, define, differentiate, list, and so forth. Why do you need to master or get yourself familiarized with these words? Because it's going to help you on how to answer the question. For example, a question that says explain is different from when a question says discuss. As I speak with you before coming into the studio to make this presentation, I was busy marking your assignment. While marking the assignment, there was a question that I gave you in the 2018 an assignment that says that you should discuss the impact of computer in our society. Now, if you look at that question, some students did not discuss, they only listed the point. That is why Mr. Edo is telling you here, it is necessary for you to understand the meaning of each of these words so that you will know how best to approach your examination question paper. The examination covers all the units in the module. What do I mean by that? If you look at your computer literacy module 1, computer literacy 1, the module, there are units there, unit 1, unit 2, unit 3, 5, 6, and so forth. Do not study only one unit. You must cover everything in your unit, from Genesis to Revelation. All the units in your study guide, you must study all the units. Questions are selected from all your units. We don't select questions from one unit and leave others. So if you focus on only one unit, then you are going to find it difficult to answer some questions. So Mr. Edo is telling you here, please, my beloved student, study all the units. Do you understand? Yes. The examination format. First, you are going to see 15 multiple choice questions. 15 multiple choice questions. Why did Mr. Edo decide to give you some multiple choice? Computer literacy is wide in scope. So I have selected one question, at least one, from each of the units. Multiple. The multiple question is going to have 4 options, A to D. Select the best one. I use the word select the best, the most accurate question. If you select a question, an option, and you change your mind, please cancel the previous one. If you leave 2 options for me, your answer becomes invalid. So you are going to see 15 multiple choice questions, 1 mark each for each question. Besides the multiple choice question, what else should you expect when it comes to your examination? In your second section of the question paper, you are going to see where it is written, define the following computer terms. Define the following computer terms. You will see different types of computer terms. Terms like what? Terms like maybe, hardware, software, computer virus, those terms that we use when it comes to computer literacy. Supercomputer, mainframe computer, and so on. Those terms. These terms are selected across all the units. You are expected to define them. That is why I told you at the preamble, at the beginning of this presentation, that you should know the meaning of each examination terms. When I say define, what does it mean to define? If you go to your study guide, at the back of your study guide, there you will see the explanation to all these examination terms. I want to emphasize some of the examples I gave to you in this presentation. This is not a scope. Mr. Edo is not telling you here that these are the terms I will ask you to explain. I just gave you these as an example of terms to be explained. Do you understand? Yes. Ask your neighbor sitting beside you, do you understand? Yes. Apart from that question, what else should you expect? We are going to see a variety of compulsory necessary questions of variable mark value, which requires you to discuss, to explain, to examine various concepts in your model. These questions are based on the expected learning outcome as stipulated in your model. You see, the truth is this. Let us stop beating around the bush here. Let us be serious here. I'm going to examine you thoroughly. Everything that you have done in your assignment, I'm going to examine you on it. So you must cover everything in your model. How can you approach questions? How can you approach the questions? I will give you one example here in my presentation. And what example am I going to give to you? Take for an example that you see a question like this, and the question is, discuss the impact of computer in education. Discuss the impact of computer in education. Let's look at this question. This type of question is a specific question, meaning you have to identify the role played by computers in the educational sector. Pay attention to the where the impact. An impact, it can be a positive impact, it can be a negative impact. The question did not say discuss the advantages of computer in education. The question did not say discuss the disadvantages of computer in education. It says the impact, which can be both positive and negative. So how do you answer such a question? First of all, identify the points. Please listen to me. Don't allow anybody listening with you, or somebody is trying to disturb you. Please tell your friend, don't disturb me. I want to pass computer literacy. Tell him now, don't disturb me. Listen very well. This is how to approach the question. Let's take for example, I have a point about the impact of computer in education. I mentioned the point. For example, we can use computer to carry out research. So I can list information as one of my points, list it, then explain it. Do not write your answer as an essay. That is, you have 3 points to give, then all the 3 points are mixed together. Now, Mr. Edo have to start reading your answer, trying to look for your points. Don't do that for me. Very easy. Let me give you an example. Look at the way I'm going to answer a question now. I'm going to answer the impact of computer in education. I can say, number 1, information. Can you see now? I'll underline it. Then I try to explain what I mean. I carry out my argument to convince the examiner how computer can be used to search out information in education. If the question says 3 points, then you move to the next one. Number 2. What else can I do with computer in education? Is it to make research? Then explain. What else? Is it for typing or whatever you think computer can be do with in education? Can you see the way I try to put things? I mention the point, I explain. I mention the point, I explain. Mention your point, you explain. Then it becomes easier for me. Now, if this question is 9 marks, I give you 1 mark. Let me use another pen so that you can see the difference between what I'm trying to say. I will give you 1 mark for telling me this point. I will give you 2 marks for your explanation. I give you 1 mark for this point. I give you 2 marks for your explanation. But if you mention only that without explanation, then you get 1 mark, 1 mark, 1 mark. Instead of getting 9 marks, you end up getting 3 marks. Then you begin to say, why did I fail? You fail because you fail to listen to instruction. Promise me you will listen to instruction. Tell me, Mr. Edo, I will listen to your instruction. Tell your friend, Mr. Edo, I said, we should listen to instructions. Instruction is very important in everything you do, especially in an examination. Let's look at another question and see how you can approach that question. Are you with me? Is your mind here? If your mind is somewhere else, please bring back your mind here. Bring back your mind here so that you can get the meaning of this presentation. Take another question. Discuss or examine the impact of computer usage in our society. Can you look at the difference between this question and the previous one? This one said, in our society. The previous one says, in education. Now, the previous one which says, in education, is specific. You cannot tell me things like entertainment there. No. But the second one, which says in our society, anywhere, any sector of our society, it can be in the banking industry, it can be in the commercial industry, it can be in education, it can be in entertainment, it can be in soccer, sports, anywhere within our society. It's a general question. I have marked several scripts where students make mistake in this type of question. Look before you leap. Read, understand before you answer. Don't rush to the answer. If you rush, you crush. How to approach questions? The discussion continue. Like what I was trying to say, the disadvantages and advantages of the use of internet. If you see a question that says, explain, discuss the disadvantages and advantages of the use of internet, it's not the same thing as the advantages and disadvantages of the use of computer. I can have a computer and the computer is not connected to the internet. Can you see? I can have a computer and the computer is not connected to the internet. So this question is the advantages of the use of computer when it comes to the internet. The advantages of the use of internet rather. The advantages of the use of internet. So this type of question is specific again, meaning you have to identify the advantages and disadvantages of the use of internet. Like the previous example that I used, identify a point, explain it. Identify a point, explain it, and if possible, give one or two examples, just to convince the examiner that you do know what you are saying. Are you happy? If you are happy, say hi to your friend who is beside you. Just say, hi friend, hi friend. It's okay. Let's continue our discussion. What next? There are questions at times that comes and says, use diagram to explain. You see a question that says, use a diagram, a picture, to explain this and this. If you see a question that says, use a diagram, use a picture to explain this and this, what must you do? It means that you must draw that diagram first. After you must have drawn the diagram, the next thing you should do is label all the components of the diagram, all the picture. After you are done to labeling all the components of the diagram, all the pictures, then explain each of the components. I'll give you an example here. For example, if I say, draw a diagram to show the computer system, the computer component. First of all, draw the diagram. After you have drawn it, what should you do? Label each of the component. Okay? This is the name. This part, this is the name. This component, this is the name. When you are done labeling that component, pick each of the components that you have already labeled and do what? Explain them one by one so that you can get your full marks. I don't like students to fail. I don't like it when students fail. I feel bad. But at times, what can I do? You cannot fail to answer the question as required, then I take my pen and give you 50 marks. It can never happen. Help yourself to study. Listen, obey, and you will pass. Tell your friend, listen to Edu and obey the instruction, you will pass. Pass what? Pass computer literacy. Let us continue with our discussion. Additional reading points. What I mean by additional reading point? This point, I want you to read them. These are expected learning outcomes from your module. I want you to read them thoroughly in an order tone. Read them very well so that you can understand what they mean. For an example, you should be able to identify types of input and output devices and the differences between them. If you look at computer, we have input devices. These are devices that can be used to enter data into the computer. Then we have the output devices. These are devices that can generate, brings out already processed information from the computer. Can you identify the various input and output devices and perhaps able to differentiate them? In computer literacy, some of you are already teachers at the primary or secondary school level. Have you ever used a smartboard before? I'm not talking about a smartphone here. Come on. Smartboard. Have you ever used a smartboard? What makes it smart? Why is it called a smartboard? Are there some advantages for a teacher to use a smartboard while teaching? Now, if I am in a classroom as a learner and my teacher uses a smartboard, what advantages do I have over that learner whose teacher does not use a smartboard? In other words, Mr. Ito is trying to let you know you should study also. What are the advantages? What are the disadvantages of using a smartboard? In your computer literacy assignment, of which the marking is presently going on, I ask you one question in that assignment. And what was the question? Now, what is the difference between a computer file and a folder? Some of you got it fine. But some of you, when a question says, what is the difference? Majority of you, based on what I have just finished marking, you are just giving me the definition. I did not say define computer file and define computer folder. What I said in that assignment question was, tell me the difference. What is the difference between them? When you give difference between two concepts, what makes them differs must be crystal clear in your explanation. So when I read your question paper, I should be able to say, oh, so this is the difference between file and a folder. Don't just define it to me. Okay, the uses of internet, I've already spoken about that. If you talk about computer memory, I'll talk a little bit about it. A computer memory. We have internal memory, we have external memory. And you will remember, if you have actually read your study guide, that your computer memory is divided into two. ROM and RAM. The primary memory rather. The primary memory is divided into two. The primary memory is divided into ROM and RAM. ROM and RAM. That's what makes the primary memory. Now this ROM and RAM, what is the difference between them? If both of them actually makes the primary memory. You can see that if you look at your study guide, there are so many sections where differences in concepts are being explained to you. Like the differences between system software and application software, the difference between command line interface and graphical line interface, the difference between the ROM and RAM. Will you be able to differentiate these? I love it at times when you try to differentiate and you draw a table, a two-column table. What I mean is that at times when you are asked to differentiate and you draw a two-column table like this, it's auto help. Now you try to explain one here, then you explain the second one here. So I'll be able to compare the differences between the two concepts. That is one way to approach it. But I'm not forcing you to use that method. You can explain or differentiate the way you want it. But what I always say, let what you are saying be very clear to the examiner. The next section that I'm going to talk about is very, very necessary. What do I mean? Basic computer operations. What is this course all about? This is computer literacy. This is not computer science. Computer literacy. For you to understand the basic knowledge, the basic concept, the basic operation when it comes to computer literacy, computer usage. Now, I'm going to examine your competencies on the following. Do you know how to start? That is to boot a computer. I might not use the word start for you. The professional word here is boot a computer, meaning to start. That is why I put it in brackets. So if I ask you, explain how to start, how to boot a computer, can you write down for me? I happen to have met one or two students who say, Mr. Edu, or even call me on the phone, I can use a computer very well, but I cannot answer those questions you ask me in the exam. I know how to do it, but I don't know how to write it down. I understand what you mean, but let me tell you how you can overcome that problem or those problems. Whenever you work on the computer, please pay attention to the name of everything you do. For example, if I say how to shut down a computer, if you are going to shut down a computer, what do? You click on your start, depending on the Windows version you are using. Anyway, if you click on your start, what next do? You click on shutdown. You see, those steps that you take, master those steps. Don't just be clicking without knowing the name of what you are clicking. You see, this is the area where I catch students who did not do the assignment themselves. Because most of the assignment, when I mark assignment, most students get 90, 80, 70, 90, 80. Wow, I'm so impressed. I'm so happy. I have brilliant students. I love that. But the same student who get 90 over 100 in the assignment, come to the examination, he gets 20 over 100. Something is wrong here. Can't you see something is wrong? How can you get 90 over 100 in assignment and you get 20 over 100 in examination in the same module? Something is wrong. And what is wrong? Number one, at times you didn't do the assignment yourself. And that is where the problem comes. Number two, maybe you did the assignment yourself, but you were not actually paying attention to those names. So, in conclusion here, you must know how to start a computer, how to shut down a computer, how to create a folder, how to save a document, how to print a document, how to check the spellings of your document that you have created. All these how to, they are already, or they were in your assignment that I gave to you for 2018. Remember, in Computer 1, Section B of your assignment, there, I ask you to create a document for me using Microsoft Word. Before you created that document, you started your computer, yes or yes? Yes. After you finished creating that your document, you shut down the computer, yes or yes? Yes. Then now I'm asking you to write for me. You created a folder where you save your document. You saved your document in that assignment. In that assignment that I gave to you, I asked you to print it out. You printed it out. Now I'm asking you in the examination to tell me how you did it. How come that is a problem? Okay, let us continue. Still on practicals. When you use the computer, you use the mouse. Am I right? You use the mouse. And if you look at your mouse, you have the left button, you have the right button. And at times you double click, at times you just click once. When are you supposed to double click? Have you ever double clicked before? You must have done it while doing my assignment. So what is the difference between to click and to double click? When do you double click? How do you double click? These are likely questions that can be asked. And when you created your document in Microsoft Word, you edited the document. Editing means here you corrected the spellings, you proofread, you do some other editing on the document. How do you edit a document? For example, how do you check the spellings that are wrongly written within a document? How do you format a document? Did you underline? Was there a place you underline? Was there a place you use capital letter? Was there a place you apply colors? Different formats you must have done. Can you remember some of these things? These are likely computer practical questions that you might be asked in 2018 examination. In Microsoft Word, I will still examine you. You must be able to demonstrate to me in the examination your ability to identify the various commands in Microsoft Word and their uses. For example, save as. What is the difference between save as and save? And open a document. How do you open a saved document? And we have this cut and paste, copy and paste. What is the difference? Are they the same thing? Cut and paste, copy and paste, are they the same thing? No. Is Mehango and Top Score the same thing? Are you? I don't know which one you like. Now, can you tell me different cut and paste and copy and paste? These are likely examination questions. Let's move to this final section of this presentation. If you look at your computer literacy 1 model, it's a model that is divided into 2 sections. Section 1 is computer literacy, computer concept, 80%. The other 20% is library concept, otherwise known as basic information science. If you look at the new curriculum implemented by the Ministry of Education, there you have ICT, Information and Communication Technology, which you are going to implement as a primary school teacher. And in that curriculum, ICT, there we have basic information science, otherwise known as library science. You need to know a little bit about the library concept here. For example, when you go to the library, you talk about a catalog. What is a catalog in a library? What do you do with it? Can you explain to me what a catalog is? And in library science, we have what is called fictions and non-fiction books. Is there a difference between fictions and non-fiction books? Can you identify them? Oh, I bring a book to you. This book is for drama. Is it a fiction or non-fiction book? And in library, we have magazines. If I say, okay, this is a magazine, the magazine has various components. Can you explain the various components of the magazines to your learners? Still on library, we have dictionary, we have encyclopaedia. Have you seen an encyclopedia before? Encyclopedia give meanings of various words, just the same way a dictionary give meaning of various words. But it's encyclopedia, you know, if you don't pronounce it very well, you bite your tongue. It's encyclopedia, the same thing as dictionary. Does it serve the same purpose? Does it serve the same purpose? Can you tell Edo if it has the same thing? or there are differences in them. What if you have a digital library? Some schools do have digital library. That is, if you go there, you don't see any hard copies, any printed book. All they have is a computer and they are all connected to the internet. Let's assume I visited a library, digital library, and I want to get an electronic book, otherwise known as e-book. How can I get an electronic book? What do I need in order for me to download an electronic version of a book? Do I need internet? Do I need a PDF reader? What are the hardwares needed? What are the software needed in order for me to have an access to an e-books on the library? Here is the end of the first presentation and the only presentation for Computer Literacy 1 for 2018. As I always tell my students in every presentation, and what now, Mr. Edu? And what now, Mr. Student? You should go back home after listening to this presentation. Start to prepare. How many times can you see that now on the screen? 3 times. If my father called you 3 times and you did not answer, there is a problem. Do you know why I kept on emphasizing that now? For now, students don't call you. They don't call you, they don't send you messages, they don't write you email, they don't ask you questions. No, they are just relaxed. But 2 days, 3 days, 1 day before the examination, your phone rings every second. Do you know the implication of that? The possibility of you passing the examination is very small because you are not adequately prepared for the examination. Then they want you to explain everything at once, remembering the tutor is also at work in the morning. So, Mr. Edo is begging you here as a belief, please start to prepare today. If you can read each unit, 1 unit a week, 1 unit a week. I don't think you have more than 7 units in your module, computer literacy. If you can read 1 unit a week, you have an A star, A plus, 100 over 100 in assignment. So, in summary, start to prepare now. Go through your assignment again. The assignment will also guide you. Go through your assignment again. Go through the questions. Look at the comment I gave to you in your assignment so that you can correct some of those mistakes you made in your assignment so that you don't repeat them again in the examination. Don't rush the questions. Calm down. Read. Explain. I wish you all the best in your forthcoming examination, whether it is April, August, or November examination. If you need more help from Mr. Edu, my line is open, 081-480-4091. Or you can email me. I will reply you. God bless all of you. I wish you all the best. May you please read well so that you can pass your examination. Love you all.